Could take their seats, please. The chair would like to reconvene and call to order the Board of Education for CUSD 201 tonight, October 22nd, 2019, for our regular board meeting. And roll call, please.
Mr. Armstrong.
Here.
Mrs. Charlton.
Here.
Mrs. Coyle.
Here.
Mr. Price.
Here.
Mr. Rudy. Mrs. Strohmeyer.
Here.
Ms. Wilson.
Here.
Thank you.
If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is approval of minutes. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the October 8th, 2019 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the first closed session of the October 8th, 2019 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the second closed session of the October 8th, 2019 regular meeting of the Board of Education as presented.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Are there any public comments? Okay, consent agenda. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Number 1, personnel recommendations. Employment of licensed staff. Christy Civic, long-term substitute, 6th grade social studies, Westmont Junior High School. Stipend position, Vanessa Positani, 1.0, senior high freshman girls volleyball coach, Westmont High School. Julie Duratsis, 1.0, senior high varsity girls basketball coach, Westmont High School. Andrea Foss, 1.0, senior high sophomore girls basketball coach, Westmont High School. 2, approval of board travel expenses. 3, approval of October 2019 expenditure report. And 4, ratification of September 2019 regular payroll.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mrs. Strohmeyer.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong.
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle.
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the first item under discussion is the calendar change on district website.
Good evening, Board of Education. I'm here just to answer any questions with regard to the materials that you have in front of you about the change in the calendar. For the past several years, we've been working with Blackboard to try and troubleshoot and problem solve our issue with ongoing calendar inaccuracies. And so what we've determined is the most effective way to make those corrections is to just use the Google Calendar as a front-facing on the website. So what it will look like, as per your screenshot on the document, is that the Google Calendar will have a frame around it, so it'll look like it's embedded in the website, but it won't be, it'll be the actual Google Calendar. We really have no choice except to provide that solution to make sure everything's accurate. The reason why I'm bringing this to you is because it will change the look of the site. It won't have that the same look that you currently has with the Blackboard calendar, but it'll be accurate.
I guess the only question I have is, is there any extra cost?
No, it's no extra cost, and it will be efficient, and it'll help our productivity.
Okay, and is it still, there's still someone at each building that's responsible for the contents and
Yes,
stuff?
the workflow for the secretaries will not change. So once the tech staff changes the page to take out the Blackboard calendar and put in the Google Calendar, we'll get that done tomorrow. Once we get that done, the workflow for the secretaries, it won't change, and the principals won't change at all. It'll just look a little different.
The only thing I would ask is that if we could send an email letting people know that
Yeah,
there's been
explaining
a
why.
change. Because, if something changes, then everybody starts thinking they're gonna miss something.
Right.
So,
The side panel on each of the on each of the upcoming events there'll still be a side panel. It will look different though. It'll look a little different. It'll have blue, lettering and stuff. And the main calendar will look a little different. So it would be a good idea to let folks know that when they look at the calendar, the website's changed a little, but it'll be accurate.
I mean, we all know every time there's an update on our phones, all of a sudden,
Yeah.
what am I missing again? So I would just ask if we're in agreement,
get
just to
that
let
done.
people know that we're updating something.
And maybe a description of what the difference is going to look like.
Yeah, I think so. I guess similar to what you got with this screenshot.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Is there going to be more or expanded information on it, or is it just going to be this kind of the same template, just done in this different version?
The template, the information will be the same, but it will be more accurate.
Okay.
Anything else? All right.
Thanks for finding the solution. Yes.
Thank you, thank you.
Actually, Nadine, I had one more quick question for you, and this is something I've heard a complaint about from parents, and I'm sorry for bringing it up in this fashion, but Kevin, I actually asked you about this many times, and this is very simple, I think. Can we possibly have one place on the website where it says contact the board and hit that, so a parent who wanted to contact the board wouldn't have to enter all 7 of our email addresses? I mean,
I'll
it should
talk
be,
to the
that simple for
team member
them.
who works on the website. I'm not sure if that's possible, but I'll get back to you and let you know.
Okay.
So what you're looking for is someone to be able to click on a.
Contact the board, and it goes to all 7 of us.
And so that email address that someone would activate an email would be to the entire group.
Correct.
When my teammate makes the corrections for the calendars tomorrow, then
That's first. I'm just-
we'll
yep.
give it a shot. I'll take that up with him, and then
Okay.
I'll let you know what the outcome is.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item, Westmont High School academic and student performance information.
Dr. Weck is, hi, everybody. First of all, great to see everyone. Dr. Weck is passing out a handout that I'd like you to reference during our time together. We'll put this all on the website tomorrow morning, along with the PowerPoint that we're going to share. With me tonight is Dr. Kevin Weck and Megan Vervink. They are 2 amazing educational leaders, and I'm so proud to call them my teammates every day, and they just do incredible work on behalf of our students in our school. You may think I'm crazy, but this moment is something that I look forward to every year. I love this time because it really is a celebration of the amazing work that everybody seated here and our entire community, our entire school community, and our staff and 201 have accomplished, along with our incredible students and parents. It really is pretty special. I've been a geek and obsessed with data about Illinois high schools since the mid-90s, and I can tell you that I don't think I've seen anything quite like this before. So I'm going to throw a lot of data at you, but the main theme is, first of all, thank you for all the tremendous support. Second of all, we really need to celebrate this. It's certainly equivalent to a state championship. There's no question in my mind that that's true. But furthermore, the data we're going to present is not just the best in our schools and district's history. There's no school like ours in Illinois and pretty much the country that's accomplished what we have academic achievement-wise. And I don't think there's really, if there's 1% of schools in Illinois who are doing this, I might grant you that. But it's really pretty incredible. So I want to lay out the case very quickly through a PowerPoint and then through some data. And then we have a quick video that will show you that's a rough draft. So if you have any suggestions, you could email those to me. This is part of our submission to be recognized as the top professional learning community in the United States. So let's get to it. As I said, it's really a celebration. It's something that everybody in our school community should take tremendous pride in. And it's not just the improvement, but the overall achievement, as I'll show you. In every different barometer, every different measurement that we can find, we are not, in some cases, we're the best in the state, let that sink in, but also the most improved, the most inclusive, or in the top 1% in the state. In every different barometer we can find, and I want to walk through that for a moment. So, once again, the exemplary rating. We not only earned this rating, and we are believing and looking forward to the state lifting the embargo on the data, but the recognition will be announced on October 30th, I believe. So there's some things we can't share tonight. But we've earned this highest rating, and not only that, but we are the school with the highest poverty rate of any high school, any regular high school in the state to earn that ranking. That's pretty special. The list is dominated by the wealthiest schools in the state and selective enrollment schools. When it comes to regular schools, we have the highest poverty rate, and I think that's a huge badge of honor for us. Now, we don't have the poverty that some schools experience, but that's the fact of the recognition from last year. So we're very anxious and looking forward to what will be announced next week. Our graduation rate, 99% of our students for the 7th year in a row have completed graduation on time. That's pretty incredible. Now, the way the state calculates the graduation rate, if a student completes all requirements within 4 years, but through their IEP is entitled to additional education, the state of Illinois does not recognize them as a graduate, even though the teachers and student have done everything possible and completed the requirements. And in our case, that's been the case. There were 2 students last year who were entitled to additional education, so they didn't count technically in the graduation rate. And there was 1 student, unfortunately, who dropped out. But in the last 7 years, we've only had 6 dropouts. And we've had 100% of Latino and African-American students graduate on time 7 years in a row. So that's pretty incredible. Our advanced placement program, we'll get into some of the rankings and details in a minute, is the most improved in Illinois, one of the most improved in the country, if not the most improved, and now we're one of the top performing, as you'll see from the data shortly. The state is looking at a lot of different measures. We look at all these different measures, and I want to go through them very quickly. We've already looked at the graduation rate, only 6 dropouts. 100% of the enrolled students graduated. We did have 1 student drop out over the 4 years. And I want to make something clear. This isn't just some schools look at the percentage of seniors that start and how many graduate. We're talking about every student that entered our building. We've only had 6 dropouts in 7 years. And the average net for the nation for African American and Latino students is in the mid to high 70s. We've had 100%, not 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, but the last 7 years. That's unparalleled. The advanced placement program, 10 times more success with the same enrollment, actually a little less enrollment. 10 times, not just, we are the most inclusive high school in the state of Illinois. Hands down, far and away, not top 1%, number 1 for including students. But our success rate has increased dramatically. The AP Scholar program, of course, there's almost 20 times more with the same criteria and same enrollment and same demographics. That's pretty much unheard of. The SAT, which is something, this is one of my favorite graphs in the world, and people tease me about it all the time. But the scatter plot is made available. If you go to Illinois School Report Card, the data will not be, the embargo will not be lifted until the 30th, but we have last year's data. And if you look at that scatter plot, what happens is you can see our achievement. So in 2018, it says estimate, but that's been lifted. We outperformed schools that had dramatically less students living in economic poverty than we did. So we lead our sector in math and in English, and we're outperforming nearly 100 schools that have significantly less poverty. That too is pretty much unheard of. And we are hopeful that'll be continued in 2019. That you can go to Illinois School Report Card, This is all put together by the state of Illinois, and you can look at this data. And as I said, we have no business outperforming these schools because the trend here in Illinois, and I've looked at scatter plots across the nation, will show that that just should not be happening. But it does at Westmont, and we're very proud of all the work that our teachers and our students put into this. The scores are off the chart in math and in English, outperforming expectations significantly and outperforming schools we have no business getting higher scores than. 5 essentials data. So it's not just the quantitative, hard data about academic achievement. Our students overwhelmingly say that they feel respected, comfortable, and safe in our building, and that's also extremely important to us. That's a major theme for us. Instead of just academic excellence, we preach compassion and kindness towards others as the foundation of who we are. So we really pushed to get almost every single student and teacher to take the 5 Essentials survey, which of course is an anonymous survey. And the results, over 90% of students report feeling respected and supported by the administration, teachers, and staff. And you can see this online. It's there for the whole world to see. Now, once again, when you push academics the way we have, sometimes staff can bristle at that. But our staff has been amazing. The best staff I've ever seen, quite frankly. Here's why. Over 90%, sometimes 95 to 100% of the staff will say they feel respected, they feel included, they feel like they're part of our vision. We're clear about these in category after category, question after question. They agree or strongly agree that this is the case. So we are a cohesive team. That's the only way to make that happen, and a collaborative team. Chronic absenteeism. And Dr. Weck went above and beyond and really did tremendous follow-through and cut our chronic absenteeism rate in half, which is one of the factors in determining if a school gets the exemplary status or not. So we had less than 9% of our students, where last year it was almost 17. And it was a whole team effort, but he definitely led us in doing that. The same way that Megan Vervink was a huge leader on our SAT work. Freshmen on track, 99%. This is a big indicator because if students don't get started on the right foot, it's hard for them to follow through. But 99% of our students are on track for graduation after freshman year. That's about the best in Illinois. Great schools, ranked schools, and we have the highest rating, 10 out of 10. Now, we didn't a few years ago, but now we do. So it's an outside agency that's giving us feedback and saying that we received their highest rating once again. Other great things that are happening, of course, we're a national model PLC. There's approximately 20,000 schools in America or more that are doing PLC work. There's a few hundred that have been recognized as models. We're one of them. The video you're going to see in a moment is part of a very intense application. It's a video. We're applying to become recognized as the best professional learning community in the nation. So we're in contention. We won't know until January whether we're the team, but when you consider that over 20,000 schools in America, to be named #1 is pretty incredible. We'll see what happens. That's Dr. Rick DeFore and Becky DeFore, who Dr. DeFore visited our school back in 2014. The PRC, People's Resource Center, is one of the most important organizations in DuPage County. They do incredible work for neighbors who are most in need, and they selected Westmont High School as their first school to be a junior board of directors with the goal of learning as leaders and then including other high schools throughout DuPage County to do incredible service work for people in need. Our AP conference, there's nothing else like it that we know of, definitely not in Illinois. Last year we had 650 teachers. We had to close off registration from 90 different schools come and collaborate and learn from each other. There are other schools have tried this, but no one else pulls off this conference, and we're about to head into our 8th year of doing this, of bringing people together and learning from each other, and the learning goes on throughout the year. So we have our goals. They're very specific for the upcoming year, including, once again, 97% graduation rate or higher, and that includes the students who will be entitled to additional learning. Over 500 AP exams. We already have close to 530 exams registered for. Over 300 passed is the goal. We have the highest percentage of seniors taking exams in the state of Illinois And our pass rate, as you'll see in a moment, is in about the top 10 or 12 out of 650 schools. And the AP Scholars and the number of underrepresented passed exams, which has increased by over 1,000% during our program. We have SAT goals also. We want to continue the excellence there, and thank everybody for the work in supporting it. Very quickly, you have this document. We'll make this available online tomorrow morning, but you could see I kind of flesh out all the data that I just ran through in the last couple of minutes, from the exemplary rating to the graduation rate to the SAT on the first page. The second page briefly mentions the work of our Latino and African American students. Our African American Latino students not only have the highest graduation rate in the state, but they are scoring on average 20% higher than their counterparts. And we have one of the best overall pass rates for Latino and African American students in the state of Illinois. There's more information about the Advanced Placement Program, then the Challenge Index, which we'll look at in a minute, and the U.S. News and World Report rankings. The 5 Essentials survey is available online, and we reference that. The Freshmen on Track and Chronic Absenteeism, where we have nearly a perfect record. The other recognitions, the Great Schools ranking, National Model PLC, there's more information there. The conference, and we have had, in the last few years, educators from 5 different countries visit our high school and 8 different states outside of Illinois and from every region of Illinois. I think that's important that we're getting recognition by our peers and they want to learn from us, from our great work the teachers are doing. And so on page 5, it just talks about we can't find somebody overall, if you put it in context, who's achieving more, and we're very proud of that. The next page, the Challenge Index, and we shared this with our students. We were ranked number 1 in 2018. We were ranked number 2 in Illinois in 2017. And then the final page is the U.S. News and World Report. These are the 2 national rankings that still exist. So we printed out the top 40 high schools out of 652 in Illinois from U.S. News and World Report for 2019. So you see the name of the school, the College Readiness Index, which is something the U.S. News and World Report computes. They use many different criteria, unlike the Washington Post poll that primarily focuses on AP. But you can see a few things from this data. We're number 12 out of 652 regular high schools. But the schools in front of us, with the exception of Evanston, have a third or less of the poverty that we have. So we're competing with the most rigorous schools in the country and in the state. And there's very few schools that look like us that are doing anything like this. And once again, you can compare graduation rates amongst these schools. So that's a lot of data thrown at you. And I just want, Megan, we have a brief video, and then I'd love to entertain questions. This is a rough draft, mind you, but we want to show it tonight. We have to submit it in a week and a half for the national recognition. As Westmont High School implemented professional learning community concepts 7 years ago, we have become the most improved high school in Illinois and one of the most improved and top-performing high schools in the nation. Our passionate commitment to learning for all, a collaborative culture, and a results orientation is supported by outstanding student achievement gains. Dr. Rick DeFore visited our school during our early implementation, and Rick and Becky's vision, spirit, and ideas are present in all we do at Westmont High School.
One of the reasons our high school is one of the most improved in the country is because all of us together, parents, students, staff, community, administration, we've all worked together to become a true professional learning community.
For some, whatever it takes is a saying. For Westmont, it is our way of life. We built our professional learning community on the commitment that every student is sacred. The power of this collaborative commitment is evident in our results. A true 99% graduation rate, including 100% of African American and Latino students graduating on time 6 years in a row. Outstanding student achievement gains on state-mandated exams, and the most improved, inclusive, and now one of the top-performing advanced placement programs in our state and nation. These gains were made with the same resources, enrollment, and demographics, but what did change was our intense commitment to professional learning community concepts.
The student and teachers at Westmont High School are truly amazing and care about each other deeply.
While we are one team, within our professional learning community, our teacher-led teams work collaboratively and have been recognized by outside experts for their exceptional work.
The Westmont Math Department has worked tirelessly to create clear learning targets aligned to state standards. They have created common formative assessments aligned to those targets and have a robust intervention process that responds to student needs in a fluid and flexible way. They are an awesome team and highly effective.
We work together throughout this process, building targets, building assessments, giving the assessments, looking at the results student by student. This whole process has been amazing, and we've worked really well together throughout it.
And I love that it's our kids, not just my kids or your kids, and that we're actually analyzing the data to build enrichment and interventions to really help the kids.
For systems of equation, I know I did good, but I still need work on area of volume.
Okay, that's great that you reflected on that. We'll definitely work on it during our intervention time on Wednesday.
Okay. I appreciate reflecting on my work and looking at the formative assessments because it helps my learning.
Last spring, I had the good fortune to observe the science PLC team conduct a meeting at Westmont High School. In my 40-plus years as an educator, this was the best example of a true PLC team that I've ever seen or ever had the opportunity to witness or be a part of.
We really value the opportunity that we've had to collaborate with the wonderful professionals that we have in our department, and I think that collaboration has really led to valuable increases in student learning.
The classes are extremely challenging, but here at Westmont, we're one big compassionate family to help you get through it.
Every teacher at Westmont is a singleton teacher, but we have used vertical articulation and many creative ways to create common formative assessments so everyone examines student data on collaborative teacher-led teams.
Westmont High School is truly a unique and special place because it is a place where all the teachers and students are fired up about learning and are dedicated to academic success and developing a growth mindset in every single student that walks through these doors.
Our significant student achievement gains have led to Westmont earning the highest recognition from our state, and research articles and book chapters focused on our PLC work and results. Westmont High School sponsors an annual conference with over 650 teachers in attendance from 90 different schools to learn about PLC and collaborative practices. We've also had visitors from schools from throughout the United States and from 5 countries outside the United States, including Dr. Yasuyuki Odo, the top PLC researcher from Japan.
Westmont High School is the best school I have ever seen. It's very comfortable, warm, and happy place for all students, teachers, staff, and parents, and even strangers like me.
Mike Matos visited Westmont High School and inspired us to refine and improve our interventions for students.
When I started high school, I didn't speak any English, and I was really scared because of it. But thanks to all the help and support from all my teachers, I was able to leave this school as an AP scholar. And I wouldn't be able to do it without them. Now I'm able to go out for college and take hard courses, and I want to thank you, Westmont, for that, because I wouldn't have done it without them.
The teachers at Westmont will do whatever it takes to help every student.
We are dedicated to continuous improvement, and our work as a professional learning community will lead to continued student success. So I could go on and on, but we would love to entertain any questions or.
I really just have a comment. When you first started making your report, you said how happy you are to give this report every year. Well, we're very happy to hear it every year. Thank you. Really, thank you. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I have a couple things.
Sure.
A good friend of mine works at PRC, and she came to me and told me that she's never seen anything like the junior board. And she said, you know, she came it was at my class, and so she came running in and said, I have to tell you about this. It's the first, and they picked Westmont, Westmont. So she just has glowing things to say about our kids. So that
Awesome,
was
yeah.
that was one thing. Two, you know, I was able to attend some of that conference, that AP conference, and it just blew me away how many people were there. I got a chance to talk to the visiting people from Australia, and they just, I think they said they canceled their plans. They were here and they wanted to stay longer, and so they stayed for that conference, and they were just singing the praises of Westmont High School. That was spectacular. And Mike Mattis, am I saying it right, Mattis?
Meadows, yeah.
His presentation, it really, really touched me, and I learned something there that I didn't know, and I like to think I know a couple things, but he said that and I hope it's okay if I say this, he gave his regular fee that he would place for this, gave it back to the school because he was so impressed by the work that's being done here. But what struck me the most was that he said, and he said this to the kids, that was the meeting that I sat in on, about how our school allows all students to take AP classes. Many schools only allow some students. That really struck me as extremely impressive, that our school does it. I did not know that AP classes were not available for every student in Illinois, not in our school. And that was extremely telling, that we offer those to anyone who wants to take them. So, kudos to everybody on that. I was not aware of that. And so the fact that our school does, and that these kids are succeeding.
And I appreciate that. It's not just that we open the doors, it's when the kids come in the classrooms, the teachers are highly supportive of students. Because you can open the doors to anybody and then, weed people out or encourage them to not continue.
Right.
But I think our teachers do an exceptional job of jumping in the deep water with the kids and swimming with them. They want to see the students succeed. And part of our belief system is you do the best you can. You don't need to be super stressed out about this. You do the best you can, let the scores fall where they may. It's the learning that really counts.
Well, I was going to actually mention that because, when AP started a number of years ago, everybody was afraid of it. And I happen to know a couple of kids who are at the high school, and when they talk about it, they, like one of the things they say is, well, maybe I won't get a 5 on the AP test, but I will have taken a year of a class that is rigorous education. And that in and of itself is tremendous. The fact that they signed up for and took a class all year. Like I said, they might not get a 5 on the test at the end, but they've experienced that education. So
they're better prepared. That's what all the research says when they enter into their college and university. Now, about 25% of the class has a semester or a year paid for after they leave our school. Some students, believe it or not, have the first 2 years of college paid for because of AP. That's a little, I'd say, typical, but it happens. So, but either way, if the students get the credits, that's fantastic. If they don't, they get the preparation, so when they leave, they're ready to go.
Right, and just on a personal note, as someone who's been looking at colleges, it really is impressive what our kids are able to leave our school with. I know, a lot of times a unit district, the goal is to just get the kids to graduate, but I really like our philosophy to get them successful for the next step, whether it's work, college, military, vocational school, whatever. That is really, that's a shining example of what we've been doing, and it's been working. So I just have to share that. It's a great thing. So thank you.
Can I build on that a little bit, Marie? I think one of the things that was most impressive to me is how successful we are overall with performance, but then combine that with the fact that the students and the teachers are happy. I mean, I think that's really impressive because to me that speaks to we're doing this in a way that is not top down and cramming things at the students, but really doing it together and respecting them and their contributions and making them feel empowered to be a part of the process, which I think is amazing. So congratulations. And I know you said that the recognition hasn't necessarily been announced for this year, but as cheesy as this may sound, you're already winning. So just in my mind, I think in all of the board's mind, you're already winning. So whatever the recognition ends up being, just know that that's the opinion. I also just want to ask a question. As a parent of a student in the elementary school, I love seeing this information. That video was amazing. It makes me really excited for the future for my child. And I think we should definitely be sharing these, not just the reports, but something like that video that really brings it to life, what the high school experience is in Westmont. And so I guess I just would encourage, you know, your team to I'm sure you're thinking about what the communication plan is, but I just wanted to share that I think it would be great if this was broadly communicated to the community. Not just whatever the recognition is, but what you just shared with us. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I agree. So that's, thank you so much for sharing. The video was fantastic, and I think put the human side of all of the wonderful data that we were talking about. So we've talked about the success a lot. So where do you want to go? Where do you want to go from here? So we've come a long way, baby, but where are we going from here? As you look at the data and think we've reached so much success with so many areas, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, when it comes to the data side, there's always the opportunity for continuous improvement and sustaining the excellence that we have. I mean, you can't go much higher than 99%.
Yeah.
And we're already the most inclusive. There's no question about that, any way you slice it. But we could always have more success. We could always have more students be successful on, let's say, on everything, from the SAT to the AP. And even the students who are not in AP classes, just getting them to have the best experience possible. It's daily work, you know, and attending to all of their needs, not just the academic ones. You know, there's a lot of information out there about the impact that social media and cell phones are having on adolescents. So this is a constant struggle, and we're always trying to provide an environment where we're listening to our students, where we're caring for them, where we're trying to get them to grow and develop. That work is never done. So every day we see students who come to us with new challenges, so we'll never be done, right? There's always new students, there's always new challenges, but so that's something that we have to continuously do better on. I know Superintendent Carey is focusing us on SEL work this year, so there's always more ways that we can provide support to our students and their well-being. So there's always going to be plenty to do. That's the amazing thing to me. I know we're the most improved high school in Illinois. The data shows it, right? And now one of the top performing. But the really fascinating thing is all the things that have been accomplished, there's still so much more to do. So in trying to include as many students as possible and maximizing their learning and attending to their interpersonal needs. The one thing that doesn't show up that I really am most proud of is we've had students come to us with discipline records that are as thick as a book, but then they somehow come through and make it at our school when they transfer. Or students who come with tremendous personal challenges, and I think, are we really going to be able to meet their needs? And overwhelmingly, somehow through our district, it happens. That's the graduation rate. So the graduation rate's a number, but it's symbolic of everybody pulling together and fighting hard for kids every day. And that work is never done. So.
When you said never done, you mean never over?
Yes.
Not never. Okay, I just, for the many people at home that are watching, it's always
We're
done.
finished, yes.
It's done on a
always in
daily
progress.
basis. I'm sorry.
We always have more work to do. Absolutely.
Sorry.
Yes.
Well, I absolutely appreciate the compassionate environment that has been created at the high school and really throughout our district. It says so much about our leadership as a board, because we encourage that, and our administration, our teachers. You know, we never give ourselves credit, but I've been sitting here 12 years, and we wanted to see this stuff happen, and it's happening, and it is exciting and very rewarding part of being, you know, being on the board as long as I have been, is you really have seen what your concept was and have it grow and take on a life of its own. And so that's very rewarding from where I sit. And I know it's very rewarding from our students' perspective as well. Our staff, our teaching staff, our TAs, our students have all stepped up, accepted these challenges and embraced them and done it in a very compassionate way, inclusive way, an encouraging way for our students. And that is truly something to celebrate because there's many districts that doesn't happen in. So,
Joel, you're so right, though. It's everybody plays their part in it, and that's the most beautiful thing, to be a part of a team that's done this. And as you said, it starts with the board and central office, and then all the professionals in the buildings, but it's also our students and parents, and people who don't even have kids who are supporting our system, so.
yeah, I tell this story, and I often tell it when we have like a board self-evaluation or whatnot. When I first got involved, you would hear from our community, you would hear, well, academics, but our kids can do everything. They can be in plays and sports, and they can be do all these wonderful things that our small school provides for them.
Yes.
And it's so nice to see that transform from, yeah, but, to yes, and. Yes, we have great academics, and our students can still do all of these wonderful things and more. So it's kudos to all of our district employees who have made this happen, and our students who have accepted the challenges and embraced the style of learning that has been encouraged over the years. So,
Well said.
hooray for everybody.
Yeah, well said.
Just following up on something like Joel said, it's like if you've ever been to, it's funny you say this should be celebrated just as much as like a state championship, because it should. There just isn't a forum for that. I mean, we could get the band here now, that would be good. But it is also when you go to any event, the Volley for the Cure the other night, just to see the amount of support that's there. And not only from the students, because student section is a great thing to be, well, not too close to, but the amount of staff that was at that event, that come to that stand outside the football games, the staff with the kids selling, vegetables. I bought a carrot the other day that was that big. I mean, it's just, but that's.
Quarter.
But, yeah, well, I gave him a dollar. But the staff is there with the students, and people are talking about it when they're coming in, like, well, you guys grow this here? So there's so much beyond just what's happening in the classroom. It evolves. And I was at a dinner not that long ago with some friends in the area, and they were talking about even TCD.
It's a great program for many of our kids.
We strongly support TCD because there's a lot of discussion that, all these, that every public school should offer every single one of these classes. Well, you can't do that. And so to have something like TCD that we have a great relationship with, and our students go there and thrive, it allows, it's a great piece to their education that we have, that their needs are. Let's say I want to try something. I want to try cosmetology, or I want to try auto mechanics or something like that. Some of the women I went out with, they said they don't hear that much from their schools. Like, they don't promote that as much. And I say kudos to us for doing that, because it's got to be about every single kid. You can't just talk about AP. You have to talk about the whole student. So that the relationship that we have with TCD is also extremely important for kids who want to go into a different path. So that's just another thing I wanted to add, because I know there seems to be a lot of discussion about, there should be automotive in every class, every school and all that. And I don't know how anybody can afford that, how you could sustain that. But again, TCD does.
TCD provides a quality that we could never afford. And our students, many of them thrive over there, and it's wonderful.
Right.
It's a great program, no doubt.
Yeah. So, anyway, kudos.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
You want to follow that, Kim?
Sure.
Presentation of monthly financial
All
statement.
right. The August financial statements are there for your review. During the month of August, we received about $402,000 from the state. There are $4,720 of fiscal year 19 payments and $10,588 of FY20 payments vouchered but not released. We received 2 installments of the 2018 tax levy in August in the amount of almost $4.4 million. Total property taxes collected by the end of August were $16.9 million. So that's a 70.32% collection rate. Last year, our collection rate was 72.53, and the year before, 53.07% spent. Now, if you remember, last year, they changed the distribution process, so we've received more money than we have typically. So we typically only receive 1 small distribution in August instead of 1 small and 1 large. And so I don't know if that, so now we have 2 years of that trend. I don't know if that now is a trend, and that's how we're gonna continue to receive our taxes. But if that happens next year, then I'll say yes. In the education and tort funds, our revenues are well above the prior year average, but comparable to last year. Again, that's because of the tax receipts. And then we received $119,000 of fiscal year 19 payments and $131,000 of fiscal year 20 payments. $120,000 of that is for the evidence-based funding. And then we have payments vouchered for both, small amounts of payments for both fiscal year 19 and 20 in that fund. In the O&M fund, again, revenues are well above the prior year, but comparable to last year, again, because of the timing of property tax distributions. And in the transportation fund, our revenues fluctuate year to year based on the timing of state payments and obviously taxes. The district received $152,000 of fiscal year 19 payments, and then there are no fiscal year 20 payments vouchered as of the end of August. As far as expenditures go, in the ed and tort funds, they were slightly higher than the prior year averages. In the O&M fund, that varies year to year based on the projects that occur over the summer. The O&M fund is 11.45% spent to date, and last year it was 11.82% spent to date. And in the transportation fund, again, revenues, they're above the prior year averages. It's the timing of receipt of invoices from transportation vendors that caused that fluctuation, and we received a few invoices in August. We have $19.7 million invested right now at the end of August. And one of the things I wanted to just make the board aware of, our overall fund balance is $20.9 million. One of the things we've been experiencing at the end of August, we had a very large medical insurance payment, well over $100,000 more than we normally do. And so while we had healthy reserves in our insurance fund over the past several years, started a little bit last year, and then, $20,000 a month here and there, and then that big one that was well over $100,000 more than normal. We have now started depleting our insurance fund reserves. And so we're going to have another meeting with our insurance committee to look at that. And part of it, our renewal will probably be higher as a result of our experience. So we've had some really large experience. As you're aware, we're self-funded, and so all those claims are the district claims. So that's going to definitely be a high priority this year. We had been doing really well, and a few bad months have really turned things around in the negative way for us. So we'll work on that and have a presentation at the next meeting for you on that.
Kim, what is that? Is that because people are? I don't.
It's based on utilization.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like all of a
So
sudden.
if we were not self-funded, there would be premiums, and our bill would be the same, month after month. But we're self-insured, and until now, it has worked out well for us. But we've had some really high utilization, and so that's caused us to maybe rethink how we do things here.
Okay. Any other questions? Are you finished, Kim?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
Thank
any
you.
other questions? Okay. Then the next topic is policy first reading.
The policy committee met and reviewed several policies that are presented this evening for the first reading. Many of the policies just had small, minor changes in terms of one or two words, or in some cases footnotes have changed because of different legal references. But the policy committee agreed to recommending these policies for adoption from the full board. If you haven't had a chance to really delve into those, they'll be presented again next month, the November 12th meeting, for a second reading and additional discussion if needed, and then for board approval.
I did start looking, but it looked like they were just really footnotes. Is there, there's
The o-
nothing?
the only one
Is there
Well,
anything?
The only one policy that I need to talk to Kim about is policy 420, the fund balances, because we actually have, the board created a policy that says to maintain a balance of 40%. And then 420 says 15 to 20% is what the state recommends. So I need to talk to Kim about that, and, you know, we want those two policies to be in alignment. So either one policy needs to come down the percentage, or this policy needs to increase. And so I'll be having that conversation, and we'll be able to discuss that with the board at the next board meeting.
I'd like to say I read every single footnote, but I didn't. But that seemed to be the sum and substance of most of it.
Right, right. Most of them are very minor.
Okay, is that it on that, Kevin?
Yep.
All right, then superintendent's report.
Under my report, just a reminder that we have parent-teacher conferences on Thursday, October 24th from 5 o'clock in the evening till 9 o'clock in the evening, and then Friday morning, October 25th, from 8 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock in the morning. And if a parent did not schedule an appointment through Skyward, they still can contact their child's school to schedule an appointment. We do encourage our parents to make appointments with their children's teachers and attend those conferences. So hopefully we'll have a nice turnout on Thursday, October 24th and Friday, October 25th. And as Mr. Baldwin alluded to in his presentation, the state report card data will be officially released on October 30th. And so just looking at preliminary data, the data does look good for our district, but we cannot release any information until after the 30th. And so at the November 12th board meeting, that's when I will do our kind of state of the district. And I'll be able to share that report card information not only on the high school, but our other schools in the district as well with the board.
Okay, that's it.
Yes.
Are there any board reports?
I do, Marie. I was able to go to the vaping lecture. I believe it was taped, so if anybody can watch it, it was amazing to find out how these things are marketed to the kids. I was really surprised about that, but if you get a chance to watch it, please do. Also, I was able to go to the junior high for their fall awards, and I got to see how Mr. Jonak and Miss Quattrone got taped to the wall. And if you're wondering, they stand on a stool, and they put garbage bags over them, and they have big strips hanging all along the side in the two homerooms that have won the competition. Each kid gets to go up and put a piece of tape on them. And it was all in good fun, and they didn't have to stay up there too long. But the kids really got a charge out of it. They really did. So that's how they do it.
And back up, so they're taped to the wall because there was a fundraiser.
There was a fundraiser, and the two classes that exceeded, each student got to, and they were so excited to line up, and it was so funny to see who they would pick, and it was really school spirit at its best. They had said they hadn't done it for about 6 years, so it was like a new thing, so they probably won't do it for another 6 years.
I just wanted to just remind everyone that one of the other wonderful things that we have going on in our district is the snow program. And in the high school, the snowball program is coming November 15th through 17th, so people can sign up for that. It's another great program that we have in our schools, snowball, snow flake, and snow
Flurry.
flurry. We just, in our house, we just call it snow. But anyway, it's a great program, and I know the high school one is coming up, so.
I just wanted to say I was able to attend the football game this last Friday. I've been to a couple games this year and have done some volunteering for the boosters, and I just wanted to congratulate the boosters on all their hard work. Every time I attend an event, they are out there and they're working hard and they're doing everything they can to support our student athletes. So congratulations to them. And I know they're always looking for volunteers, so that's a shout out to the community to please volunteer your time. It's actually really fun. My mom even was with me on Friday night and helped sell 50/50 raffle tickets, and we just had a good time. So it's not like it's super hard work. Just go out and support your community. And then the game itself was really fun, and I think, I just want to congratulate the team and the band, and then there was a Biddy cheer and palms during that game as well. So congratulations to Liz Manessis and the cheer squad for putting on that camp for the elementary school kids, and they just had a ball. So I'm glad we're continuing to do that program, and just wanted to say thanks.
This Friday is senior night at the last home football game. So. I'm sorry? Oh, you know what? I actually have that in the dates, so that's why I didn't say it in there, but just hang on. Okay, anything else? Okay, so our future, are there any public comments? No. So future meetings and events, parent-teacher conferences, again, Thursday, October 24th, the kids get out, what time do the kids get out? They get out of school early. It's different for each school, but they get out early. But the actual parent-teacher conferences are 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And October 25th, the conferences are from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., and then there's no school on the 25th. And then the high school fall play, Once Upon a Pandora's Box. So it's Friday, October 25th at 7 o'clock. Saturday, October 26th at 7 o'clock, and then Sunday, October 27th at 2 p.m. And all of that's at the high school. There will be no school on November 11th, 2019, and then the next school board meeting is November 12th at 6 o'clock here at Westmont Village Hall. Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to enter closed session to discuss personnel issues, collective bargaining, student discipline, and the superintendent's evaluation.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Stromeyer.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Mr. Armstrong.
Yes.
Mrs. Coyle.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mrs. Charlton.
Yes.
Thank you.
And there will not be a vote after closed.